ESPN 1410 Wing AM brings you 1410 Wing Live. Follow along on Facebook, on Twitter, even on our ESPN Dayton YouTube channel, and at wingam.com. We're everywhere. The biggest interviews with the biggest local and national guests. It's 1410 Wing Live with Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show live right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I know we spent a lot of time talking a ton of NFL. We've talked plenty of college football. We're going to stick in the college world, but we're going to transition to the round ball. Let's talk a little college basketball. Although everything still seems up in the air and seems uncomfortable from a fan's perspective of not knowing when your team's even going to play at this point, things are starting to fall into place. We now know conference schedules for a lot of conferences out there. The Horizon League just announced their schedule last week, of course, when you take a look at that unique scheduling model, which features, of course, the home team hosting the same team twice in a row, back-to-back nights. Some teams won't play every team in the conference. It's a very unique scheduling model, but a model that a lot of conferences have taken on. But I'm excited to bring on our next guest. He's the reigning Horizon League Player of the Year and was just named the preseason Horizon League Player of the Year. We have Wright State's Loudon Love joining us. Loudon, welcome in, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you hanging out with us. So you guys have had practice today, right? How different and unique have your practices been this year? Because I'm pretty sure, just like I talked about with fans, this is unlike anything they've experienced. You as an athlete and as the only senior on this roster, this is unlike anything you've experienced, I'm sure.
No, of course. I mean, it's definitely an unorthodox start to the season. With the preseason, completely different than our normal schedule and what I'm accustomed to. But I think we've handled it pretty well. I mean, we've had times where we've been shut down here or there for numerous reasons, and then just not as much time earlier on that we wanted to get in the gym. But I think we're finally catching up, and one of the biggest things I think is conditioning. But we're kind of jumping on that, getting a lot of up and down in practice. So it's definitely different. You're meshing in some things that normally are separated, but the coaching staff's done a great job for that.
Let's rewind back to March. We'll touch on the ending to last season in a moment. But when a lot of the stay-at-home orders started coming into place, and again, that varied from state to state, where were you? Were you back at home? Were you in Dayton? Where were you located during the majority of that early on stretches of the stay-at-home orders?
I'll be honest, we kind of stuck around for a while just to see what happened. And then once we got word the NCAA tournament was canceled, obviously we knew that NIT would be following that procedure. So then I headed home for a while, probably packed for about a week, figuring that we might get back to the gym just because that's normally what happens. We finish up the school year and we have some workouts here and there, even if it's just weights. And it turned out to be, I think, like a month and a half that I was home almost, home in Illinois, which is a little bit of a hiatus for basketball. Not really, though, just not working out super tough. I'd mess around, I'd play with friends a little bit, but nothing too serious. And obviously still trying to follow the orders of staying at home.
Yeah, we're seeing in football, for college football, teams don't look up to par yet. I mean, again, it was a wonky offseason for them. You guys are experiencing the same thing. We're seeing, some teams look out of sorts. What are some things that in college basketball, if you're not getting the typical offseason you're accustomed to, what are some things that you would be worried about maybe impacting not just you, but your team as a whole? And forget just your team, but college basketball as a whole. What are some things that the casual fan may not realize about what the lack of an offseason, a normal offseason, can impact this season?
I mean, it can affect the structure of it with the mental approach to the game, I think for any sport, and that goes with college, football as well, and maybe even some professional teams, not as much. But just being able to get that full offseason, and we'll see it with the NBA, having a short offseason, stuff like that. But just kind of condensing stuff and having quick turnarounds, and it's really one of those things. It's almost cliche to hear, but it's like who can deal with change and who can adapt to it and who can handle the uncertainty of an entire season. Because the truth is, like, it's uncertain right now if we'll be playing in 2 weeks, and we won't know probably till the day before that, to say with certainty we'll be playing tomorrow. And then maybe a month down the road, even with conference play, it might be the same way if someone gets sick on our team, another team in the conference, anything. So I just think the struggle of uncertainty and going to practice every day, kind of not hoping, but just playing like you're going to play, despite the fact that you might not.
Wright State's Loudon Love with us here on the Justin Kinner Show on 1410 ESPN Radio, named the 2020 Horizon League Preseason Player of the Year. I want to rewind back to the tail end of last season quick, and then we'll put that in the rearview mirror and we'll look back at it. It was a bittersweet ending to that season that was just filled with so many firsts. Of course, winning the conference championship, or the regular season conference championship, you winning Horizon League Player of the Year. Wasn't just a great year for you. I mean, it was across the board for the entire program. What happened in Indianapolis? Just take us back to that night, during that game. It just didn't look right. Didn't feel right. What happened in Indianapolis as your season came to an end?
Yeah. I can't tie it to one thing. I would say UIC definitely came to play. We had our battle that year. We were 1-1 last year with them. And obviously we had the last time we saw them, we won. But that was at our place. It was a neutral playing ground. But I think part of it too maybe was we got kind of lackadaisical not having a game. We had those buys and a lot of practice. And as much as it should be easy to practice at the time, some people, including myself, can get just nonchalant with it because you just want to play in those games and those high emotional games. So I don't know. I feel like we got caught in the middle of all of that, and we kind of didn't stay on path and stay focused on how we were the entire season. But I think looking back, it was something that we kind of emphasized the whole year. Is like we tied for it. We haven't won it. We want our regular season championship. And unfortunately, that's, it's important to us as a program to win those games. But for others, it might not be because of one big league. So, I mean, obviously my freshman year, we won the tournament. Last year, we won the regular season. I think it's kind of a goal, and kind of the hard thing would be to handle that success of the regular season and still go into that tournament hungry, and not even hungry, but just willing to do the same things to win both.
Yeah, you're a senior. You're the only senior on this roster. I feel like you just got here. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. But you've experienced, you're a part of the change and the uplift of this program that came over with Coach Scott Nagy, and just the total flip over of the program to get it to where it is right now. You talked about your first year when you guys went to the NCAA tournament. That was a year where every time you guys were in a big game, it was one of those where you were hunting. Now you're the hunted, and just the growth of the program and the growth for your career from your freshman year to now. How different was last year? As fun as it was, I'm sure it was much different than the early success you were having, where you were hunting the success and now you were the hunted. How different was that for you to adjust to last year?
A little difficult. It's kind of where we always saw the program wanting to go. So I think the younger guys kind of bought into that. Jalen Hall is, one of the older guys we have relatively. And same with James Manns. I think it's not surprising to us, but it is a different feel. And, going into Florida last year, obviously that's when I hurt my elbow, fractured it. But I think we went into there, feeling pretty confident that we could win that tournament and play those 3 games and get out there 3-0. So I think the confidence that comes with it also needs to come with some humility with it as well. So it's definitely a different feel every game in and out, but it's the feeling you want. You rather be that kind of team where everyone's coming after you, giving you their best, making you better, making you perform under pressure, and making you play great basketball than a team that's overlooked or not getting everyone's best.
Yeah.
People giving the excuses that we didn't show up for that game because we didn't think they were that good, that kind of thing, which you hope not to see in college sports, but here and there you do.
So you've learned from that. I never want to say a loss is a good thing, but there's nothing you could do about that loss now. So you take that, and it's like a lesson learned, and it's like, you still experienced a ton last year that you're going to bring with you into this coming up season. You guys learned from that. In the wonky offseason that it has been, you've spent a lot of time with your teammates, some of the guys you've been familiar with, a lot of the new guys. How you feeling about this roster? I heard Coach Nagy say last week it's one of the deeper rosters he's had since being here, and that you've talked about what it's like playing with these guys, a lot of new faces to a lot of Raider fans as we tip off the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Our coaching staff and our athletic department were pushing, so we got a few extra weeks, and I'd say, or at least we started our timeline a little bit sooner than other schools may have. As far as, working into full practices, at least workouts, I would say, in the summer. But, I would say, honestly, skill-wise, I've never thought I was the most skilled person on the team, but I'd say we got a lot of skilled people on this team, and I wouldn't say I'm one of the top ones. We got Grant Basile coming in, who's a great 4-man, stretch 4 or 5. He's comfortable on the perimeter in the post. Tim Finke transferred from GCU, playing great ball. Obviously, like I said, the older guys like James and Jalen Hall playing great ball as well. And then we got Trey Calvin stepping up at point guard, and Andre Harris, who's a redshirt freshman for us, also doing well. And the freshmen we joke about it with them. You had an easy freshman year because that summer, I remember my freshman summer, I was doing body weight stuff for 2.5 months, 3 months. And these guys come in doing body weight for like maybe 3 weeks and then off the hook. But we joke about it with them, but they've embodied it and they've taken it, and they know that this is unusual, and I think they're taking it well, and they're working hard for us, and it's been fun to play around these guys. It's really competitive in practice, and it's hard to blow out. When we split it up 5v5, it's hard to blow out another team, and it's really just I think it's our mental approach and not our skills. Really, it's our mental approach and our mindset on defense and offense more than anything.
Define what a successful season will be to you and the team as a whole in 2020.
I would say for us, I'm not gonna give you a straightforward answer here. I'd say just loving on each other and dealing with the uncertainty. Because with that love, if we make those mistakes or we have an issue, we can kind of come back from anything, and that's kind of what you need, especially like you talked about when some teams look at you as a threat or want to give you their best. You really just need that cohesive unit, and just handling with the uncertainty. Going into practice, like I said, every day, ready to play, ready to attack it as if you're going to play a game every week. With no doubt, like as if it was a regular season. So I think if we take care of those two things, we stay together and care about each other, I think we'll be all right. And I think for a senior, that'd be a successful season for me, despite the record.
Loudon, I'm not putting you on the spot here, but you are an interesting talent because you're definitely a guy that came in that didn't have a lot of eyes on you. That right now, heading into your redshirt senior year with Wright State, I'm sure a lot of other programs have had their eyes on you. And nowadays, where everyone's always transferring, I mean, it's just every year the transfer portal is unbelievable. It speaks volumes about the job that Coach Nagy has done. It speaks volumes about yourself. What is it about Wright State in the program for Coach Nagy that you felt comfortable saying, forget what everyone is doing in these times where everyone just transfers and tries to go to that bigger and better program? What is it about what you and Coach Nagy have helped establish here that you felt comfortable saying, I want to finish my career where I started right here with Wright State?
Well, I'd say it's everything for the athletic department, Coach Nagy, and the entire staff. They handle it really well, and even at South Dakota State. And I don't think I'd be, or at least I wouldn't have the stats behind me that I do now at South Dakota State behind Mike Dom, who's a great player, and what they did there. So I think things almost didn't get lucky, but fell into place here because I was able to get the opportunity from the coaching staff that were willing to trust me. And like you said, I was nothing special coming out of high school, so there's no reason for them.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Okay.
They didn't really recruit me or give me a chance like that, but they did, especially coming off the ACL rehab. So I've just always been thankful for that opportunity, and being a man of my word as they are, I don't really have a reason to go back on it. And all they said was they give you a chance to be great and be the best player you can be if you want to and you buy into it. And yeah, there's been days where I've had struggles buying into it, but for the most part, when I am honest with myself and I buy into the things that they believe in and that have shown to work, they're people of their word and they stick with it. So I think it's just the honesty of it and the relationships. Obviously, it's hard in some of these preseasons, this one especially because of the condensed scheduling and everything trying to get in. So there's a lot of tension, but I think they do a great job of getting rid of that and dissipating that between players and coaches and everything like that. So it's a special thing to be a part of, like I said, from the athletic department down. And I've enjoyed it on campus, academically, athletically, everything.
You're an old school post player. You don't see your type of post player anymore in basketball. And I love that old school basketball, throw it into the post. I don't love the slow it down game, but I love the old school, throw it in the post and take advantage of your height. We've seen combo post players in the Horizon League the last couple of years. Drew McDonald's one that could take it down in the block, but also had the outside game. Do you work on your outside game, or is it you have no interest in adding that to your arsenal? What is it about you that just likes to stick in the post and just take advantage of your height and your strength?
Absolutely. I mean, the height isn't there all the time. Obviously, we've had some centers that are taller. Mm-hmm. Our team's taller. He's really long, so it's hard to maneuver around him even in practice. And I work on it, but I've also, I think, the first 3 years here, it's never been something I've majorly focused on because I wanted to refine my skills. Get a higher free throw percentage, higher regular field goal percentage, obviously lift that free throw percentage. This offseason, just because of the time away from the team and everything, I touched on it more and more, just trying to get the rhythm down of a shot just for free throw percentage, which I've seen some improvement in, and it feels great, feels better, feels smoother. So even if it's not something I'm here to showcase this year, even if it helps me at the line, that's the only time I'm here to use it. Absolutely, I've worked on it. But I think, it's one of those things where even though they go to me a lot and they trust me a lot with that ball, if I can just do what I do best, for us and not worry about me personally and put it we instead of me first, then I think it'll be all right. Because we got guys who can shoot and everything. And like I said, just kind of honing in and refining those skills and working on the passing game and those kind of things to get other guys open and more assists. I think we'll be all right. But definitely working on it. Not something I might showcase this year or whatnot. Going forward, I might, but we'll see.
Now you're supposed to say, no, you're like perfect from behind the 3-point line. You worked on it this season, so other teams start, prepping for it, right? But your play as a center, as we wrap things up too, I mean, you've been, I know you're not about the individual awards, it's as a team, but I mean, the work that you have done has gotten noticed. You're, of course, on the 2020 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award preseason watch list going in. And of course, and I'll be sharing here in a bit how fans can help vote you through that process. But that has to be a special thing for you too, deep down, that maybe you'll appreciate it more after the season when you're more focusing on your career versus what your team needs to accomplish. But your work's being acknowledged from across the country with some of the best bigs in college basketball. That has to feel pretty special.
Absolutely. It's nice to get that recognition. But like I said, with every award I've ever gotten, even with the Player of the Year last year, I mean, it's a team game. I wouldn't have been where I was last year without the seniors we had, whether it was Jordash transfer from Northwestern, Later Dozich on the bench, or Cole and Bill on the court with me. So, like I said, it's always been a team game, and the coaching staff trusts me a ton. They've given me the most opportunity. So it's nice to get it recognized, but it's a big thing for our program to kind of be in there and be involved in that. Because, next to my name, I don't pay attention to the name too much, but I know in that list right next to my name is Wright State as a school, and that means a lot to me for sure.
All right, send us out with this. Being a leader on an athletics team this year is a lot different than just prepping for the upcoming game. There is so much more going on behind the scenes. It's not just about athletics. It's about, making the right choices, making sure, you're following COVID protocols, that you're staying safe and as healthy as possible during these uncertain times. You being the only senior, how do you feel pressure to kind of keep this team in line? I'm sure you trust your teammates, but just what is that like? You already have your regular pressures of, prepping for a season, but always knowing that, hey, you got to keep encouraging your team to stay on the right path to make sure that they're making right decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been the most positive one. That's also something I kind of worked on this offseason, was kind of reading into those things with great coaches like Bill Jackson and other stuff like that, and how they led, championship teams, those kind of things, with the mental approach to basketball, all that. But I'd say, the guys want to be out there just as much as I do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, because we recruit good character. And I just know that if I'm having a bad day, they'll pick me up. So hopefully those are far few in between, and I can do the same for them. But I think they just want to be here, and like everyone else in college basketball, they're ready to go play a game and compete. And that's not all that you need, of course, but I think they've done their work in preparing, and they're going to continue to do so the next 2 weeks. So definitely hard, definitely on my mind, but I don't think it's going to be too hard to leave these guys, because they want to be here and be great.
All right. He's the reigning Horizon League Player of the Year, was just named the preseason Horizon League Player of the Year. And, there's a lot of uncertainty, but we know we have a conference schedule coming up around the corner. Non-con will be announced here in the near future as everyone's keeping an eye on that. Loudon, thanks so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy. And as much as I enjoy watching your career, I enjoy watching the hairstyles change.
Of course, yeah.
So
thank you, man. But thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take care, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. See ya.